Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Hello and welcome to World Inkers Network. I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host. We're at episode 292 now. We're closing in on 300 episodes pretty soon here. And today we have Jing Jing, who is the first immigrant poet laureate and the first ever re-elected poet laureate for 2 consecutive terms in 2020 and 2022 of the city of Cupertino. She was also the grand winner of the citywide Celebrate Creativity Poetry Contest in 2017 with her poem Logograph in memory of her grandfather. Jing Jing's English and Chinese writings have been featured worldwide in Celebrate Creativity Anthology, Redwood Forest, City Headline, Cupertino Scene, and Changsha Nightly Post, etc. Jing Jing was born in Changsha, China. She lives in San Jose, California. Her first bilingual poetry collection, Flowers in My Dreams, has been released in March 2022 at global Amazon websites. Thank you for joining us today, Jing Jing. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very, very much, Dustin, for having me here.
So tell us a little bit about the process that you became poet laureate in Cupertino. What happened there, and what was their process of incorporating you in there? Sounds like a really remarkable feat.
Everything started with this book. This is the 300 poems from Tang Dynasty. I can no longer open it because it's gonna it's become dust. So I memorized a couple of hundreds of poems when I was little. My dad said, if you memorize 300 poems, you will become a poet. I never believed it. So in 2015, when I first became an empty nest, I joined poetry memoir class in Cupertino Poet Laureate program. That's how I started my English writing. And in 2017, it was unreal. I won the first place as a citywide creativity celebration. That led to the 2019, I was chosen to be the first immigrant poet laureate for the city of Cupertino. In the past 2 years, more than 2 years, I've hosted probably more than 20 events, including diversity, anti-sensory, dialects, and united people from all over the world. And July last year, I was very encouraged by the San Mateo Poet Laureate, Eileen. She's a Malaysian. She's wonderful. She's won so many different rewards. And she encouraged me to publish my own book in bilingual format. So I worked very, very, very hard for the past 9 months. And eventually I got the book published. And I also designed my own cover page. So that's my story.
Interesting.
Thank you, Dustin.
So yeah, that's fascinating. You did you actually memorize the 300 poems, or did you try to start with that, or?
I think I would say probably between 1 to 200, but now I can memorize the most memorable ones, a couple of lines, but I can no longer memorize the whole thing. The longest one is about 200 lines. That was a lot of opera stories was based on that famous poem from Bai Juyi. Even today, a lot of people didn't know. Everybody knows Mulan. Mulan was based on Ballad of Mulan. It's a poem. It's a long poem, and that was my first workshop in 2020. I started with Mulan, and everybody was shocked.
Interesting. So when you're teaching, what do you learn about your own craft? I know a lot of instructors, they when they're in the process, they learn a lot about themselves and their own capacities as writers. And is there anything you've learned specifically in doing workshops and teaching?
Yes, teaching and be taught. So my English is not my first language, and the first place winning poem Logograph was translated from Chinese to English. So I've had this battle all the time, the language battle. But teaching poetry, from teaching poetry, I've learned a lot. Because I'm surrounded by wonderful, wonderful group of Cupertino local poets, and now it's expanded to Stanford. The retired poetry lovers. They're from more than 10 countries, and when I teach them, when I read my poem, I tell them my writing process, but the feedback was phenomenal, and I got a lot of suggestions and comments. And maybe you should use this word, or you shouldn't use that word. So through all this process, and a lot of the expression from translation sometimes doesn't ring a bell to English readers. So I have to rewrite many times. I have to rewrite many times. I don't know how many versions I've gone through for this book. Oh.
Flowers in My Dreams. I love that title. Where does that title come from?
Okay. That's a great question. Yesterday, actually, I thought with my priest from the church. He said, "I love your title. It covers the entire book." And there was actually, I explained in the end, I said this book, the title is from a song that my dad taught me. The original song title is "Flowers Falling in My Dreams," and I removed the falling. Maybe I shouldn't have, but at that moment, I was too sad. Because this book was dedicated to my mother, who passed away in May 2020. So the priest is from Taiwan. The song was very old. A lot of mainlanders from China, the Chinese from mainland, they didn't know this song. But people who's in a certain age, they know. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. So
what role does music play in your poetry? Do you borrow rhythms from certain classes of music, or do you ever put some music on and just relax and try to write while you're listening to some kind of I don't know, whatever you're listening to?
Great question. I've had Chinese friends tell me before, saying that my poem has a lot of imagery, and also it's very good for reading. And when I had a long talk with the priest yesterday, he told me, he said, your rhyme, your rhythm is very musical. And to be honest with you, because all this, he said, the first thing he said is, you're very good at Chinese classic literature, because all the simplified poetry should be very short, highly summarized. You don't have any redundant or not even one unnecessary word. And he said I was able to do it. And also in the meantime, it's rhymed. The rhyme helped building the inner musical.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is all from what I learned, the classic poems that I memorized. It comes very natural. And he said a good poet doesn't take a long time to write. You should just you just get it done so quickly because everything is already built in by default. That's reading from reading and practice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In my own poetry, I tend to have a lot of internal rhymes and a lot of similar sounding words that kind of flow into each other in a way. And you know, you don't catch it immediately, but if I look at it back and go into it, it's like I've done this naturally. I've just put this in there. And, you know, I'll have certain words that are kind of, you know, the sound just reiterates and it works really well as a kind of musicality. And so it's true. There's like a musical rhythm and a pace to a good poem. And I think you're right about saying that it really just kind of flows out. You know, it doesn't always require a lot of work, but maybe a little tweaking here and there. I know some editors think, you know, like to tweak people's poems. So
Yes.
how long did it take you to write this book, to put this book together?
You know, to be honest with you, most of the poem, it collected from 1996, the first one when I visited China, and up until the last, probably the very beginning, January of this year, the book collected about 63 poems, covered 3 decades, and I have 62 translated bilingual. There was one poem that I cannot translate it. Cannot be translated into English. It's just too. I used a lot of ancient words, but it's a beautiful words. There was no English. Maybe I'm not that good because I have to probably learn Shakespeare very well in order to translate that word.
Right. It seems like a little classically intoned language, and that's interesting. And so how many years or so did you said from the 90s, like mid 90s to when did you release it? Like this month, wasn't it? Or last month?
Yeah, last month or this month. It's still I'm still working on it. I want to make it better. But you know, in the beginning I never even after I joined the Poet Laureate program, I was learning writing. I went through 3 before me. I had 3 Poet Laureates. They're all very valuable for my writing because I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of great appreciation. I'm very grateful for having this program in the city and learn from this generous poetry lovers and poets and writers. And I picked up from them a lot of things: the spirit, the giving, and the way you want to do better. You always want to craft your work. So
right. And it does take a lot of time to develop. I mean, you know, we said just a few minutes ago, it's like it kind of comes out and flows out really easily, but that takes a lot of practice and time. It's like working on, I don't know, a violin piece or something. You don't just pick up the violin and go, where, you know, you don't just do that. It doesn't happen. You know, you don't make music out of, you know, nothing. You have to sort of, you know the tones and where to put your hands and all the various things to know how to compose a good song. And so that I think that's what poetry really does. You learn these elements of the craft, and a lot of people want to skip over that and just jump into the writing and, you know, oh, it's my feelings. Well, there's some truth to that, but you know, you have to have, like, if you want a successful poem, I think you have to have your toolkit at hand, you know, and know, like, you know, where the A minor would be on, like where A minor, C, or whatever, tone you're playing in, and if it was compared to playing a guitar or a violin, you know. So what are your duties as a poet laureate?
Actually, the standard requirement is you only need to host 1 workshop in 3 months. That's all they required, but I don't think that would do from my perspective, because when I see something, I went to TED, I saw a high-tech guru making a speech, and he mentioned about semiconductor. He mentioned about the book he's writing. I think this is very valuable in Silicon Valley, that writers and poetries, most of the people are writing from our heart, but we're living in Silicon Valley. So I invited him for my April, the National Poetry Month workshop, which is on 30th of April. And also the master chef, a lady from India that she paid through her college and graduate school through her own cooking, because her parents was first generation immigrant. I just invite all kinds of people, the creative people, no matter if you're painters or writers or even inmates. I invite one inmate poet. It was phenomenal. And I invite the people from Canton, the second generation of Chinese. This is their country, and they inherited a lot of Chinese or Asian heritage from the last generation. And also, different kind of people, regardless the skin color, whoever touches me, I invite them to be my VIP and make speech and read their poems. And not only limited with the poetry. And I remember there was a writer from Russia. He was exiled from Russia, and she reads her experience the night how she escaped from Soviet Union. So I think I'm more drawn to the humanity part of poetry. Technique is second.
Right. Absolutely, and that's both. I think both can go hand in hand. You can convey a really enriched experience, like you mentioned. Fleeing from the Soviet Union, you can use a lot of the quote unquote toolkit of poetry to express that in a more fluid and vibrant way than maybe just writing out, what happened and as a story or something. I think it can affect the emotions a lot deeper if you kind of have an idea. But yeah, if a poem touches your heart and it hits you and it strikes you, it's a poem. As Emily Dickinson said, if it takes the top of my head off, it's a poem. That's one of her pet phrases. So I wonder how the experience of being an immigrant affected your own writing style.
So that's a great question. I appreciate you asking this question because I was a single mom. I raised my kid alone, and my daughter won in 2023. She won the first place for young writers competition, and she speaks English, French, Spanish, and Chinese, and she always laugh at me, for my poor English, the immigrant English. I said I'm great. I mean, among all my Chinese friends, I speak English. I'm one of the best speakers, and she never believes me. She always roll her eyes. So when the last poet laureate approached me, and I said, just to get my daughter back, I want to take this role because I want the younger generation know that where the parents come from. We struggled a lot, went through a long journey for them to be here, to have a better life. They need to appreciate that. And this is one of the reasons I write, because this book was dedicated to my mom and dad and also my daughter. The main reason is I want her to know where I come from, where her grandparents come from. Right.
It's a conveying experience, an intergenerational, passing down. I think that's one thing that a lot of, writing can do is it lasts since it's on the page and it's there. It sticks around, and people can pick it up. It's like reading old diaries or, anything else out there that you can read and you can experience, and understand where a person is coming from. And, it's a really powerful tool for different people, younger people and older people, to learn about other people's experiences. So we're going to take a brief break, but we'll be right back with some of your own poetry, and I would love to hear it. So you're watching World Inkers Network, and I'm Dustin Pickering, your host. Going to a break, right? Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony Rivecchio's new program on PARROT TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, if how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony Rivecchio, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University. Welcome back to World Inkers Network. We have Jing Jing Yang with us today, and she's going to read us some of her wonderful works. And we're going to love these wonderful poems of hers, I'm sure. So you can go ahead and read if you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first one is Logograph, the one I won the prize for. Logograph, a tribute to my grandpa, Yang Shuda. Grab a handful of Chinese characters, toss them into heat, then rock them into lava, and cast them into my poetry. Black script on white paper, brewing and diffusing the steam, flaming in red hot orange, whilst our ancestors sharpen the stone, paint their fairy tales, engrave their memory on turtle shells, in cattle bones, scattered with a sparkle splash. Scripts started before time, blistering as blood and sweat. With the stem or pebble, it rocks wolf skin and rolls into human history.
Very deep, very intriguing poem there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dustin.
Mm-hmm. Can we read another one?
Sure. The other one is called Hometown Snowfall. This is from Pandemic. My hometown sky, from my hometown sky, the first white goose feather snow falls. My sister-in-law sent me a video. At the same time, rain drizzles murmuring outside my California window. The rain is whispering tears, I know. Our mother left us 7 months ago. From my hometown sky, the first white goose feather snow falls. 1,000 goodbyes stuck in my throat. I carried my mother in my heart everywhere I go. At the same time, rain drizzles murmuring outside my California window. Rain and snow flutter from 2 continents of the globe. Home out of reach, so rippled out of hollow. From my hometown sky, the first white goose feather snow falls. If the quarantine was suspended, I'd fly back tomorrow. Corey frolicking, floating in green grotto. Ox ear, I'll see you soon. River Xiangjiang and mountain Yuelou. Home is standing at the edge of my dream. I won't let go. The remembrance of precious logo, cargo. From my hometown sky, the first white goose feather snow falls. At the same time, rain drizzles murmuring outside of my California window.
I hear a lot of the musicality in that one, definitely, and the choice of words.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to read something in Chinese?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, then okay, I gotta flip to that page. Can I read in my dialect?
Sure.
Okay. So Chinese, while I'm explaining to you, Mandarin and Cantonese are 2 large language in China. Mandarin is the official language, but within one province, I'm from Hunan, there was at least 50 or 60 dialects in each city. So even within the same province, some of the west of this the town, I wouldn't understand a thing what they say. So I'm going to read this poem that is well known for every kid who was born in city of Changsha. So the first part is in Mandarin, and the last part is the my dialect. It's about moon. 月亮爸爸，小老乡，你轻轻弹唱，风儿吹过，花儿飘香。天边圆圆的月亮，导引着我心里的家乡。吉他慢慢弹，曲儿叮咚响，我好像还在院子里跟小朋友们躲迷藏。与邻里的叔叔阿姨坐在小板凳上，悠悠歇凉。小老乡，你轻轻弹唱，月儿溜溜从你指尖拨过，泪珠子在我眼眶里打转。梦乡里，我搀扶着一路小脚颠簸的哀姐和外婆，还有紧紧搂着我的老娘。三代女子勾肩搭背，走在荷花池、3公里和文昌阁的老麻石路上。小老乡，你轻轻弹唱，儿时的童谣，月亮爸爸冉冉上扬。月亮爸爸到里走过家家，家家去来买菜，到里走过奶奶，奶奶去来绣花，绣过糍粑，糍粑叠在井里，变着蛤蟆，蛤蟆伸脚，变着喜鹊，喜鹊散须，变着斑鸠，斑鸠咕咕咕，河山敲豆腐，豆腐一不着，河山敲粑粑，粑粑一不磕，河山敲菱角，菱角溜溜尖，河上望到天，天上4个字，河上放到石，石又放到河，抓到河上看脑壳。Okay, that's it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Wonderful. If you'd like to read another poem, we have a little time.
Okay, I can read the one I just wrote yesterday. I'm going to read my next workshop.
All right.
It's about women trafficking.
Okay.
Boiling sin. Sin boils like sulfuric acid, pouring on the defenseless, the devils and demons inside her trafficked womb. Celebration and parade for a childbirth. 1 girl and 7 boys from known and unknown fathers. Accidental spilling of lawlessness. Liberty has long lost its nature and name. The boiled slurry forges iron ropes and chains, hanging on her neck, throat, and soul. Men ghosts haunting to her insanity and crumbling, inferno in the mound on earth. The world abandoned me, pretending to be deaf. The boundless humanity over and over watches, simmering, covered with the lids. Snow falls on maggots. Incredible holiness.
I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the genesis of that poem. What prompted you to write it, and what was the process like?
Okay, there was about 2 months ago, there was picture was showing in the internet. It's a woman whose neck, not necklace, it's a chain with a big lock on her neck. And he was trafficked woman, robbed how do you say that? She was transformed from place to place, and she was raped by many men, and she gave birth to 8 kids. They were from different fathers. And the 40 billions of people asked the government, please give an answer. Who is this lady? Why she's end up in a place with the chain? Why she become a crazy, mad? And the government took them 4 letters, 4 public announcements. Still, they didn't give a good answer. So the country was really boiled. And everybody was angry, furious. The country was in a rage. And that was during Winter Olympic in China. So I think I wrote this during that time. And a few days ago, I translated the poem into English.
Interesting. Was it a very painful poem to write? And you have to sympathize with the person you're writing about. It sounds like it was a really grueling process.
Yes. I think being a poet, I was a hobbyist. I love poetry, and I'll be a poetry lover forever. But I've never considered myself as a poet until I was named first place in 2017. As I became a poet laureate, I think besides what I wrote about my own personal feelings, yeah, I've grown. I've watched so many other seasoned poets and poet laureates. They're great role models. And I think I started to take some social responsibilities.
How do you feel about like social justice in poetry? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a tough question.
I mean, is poetry effective as a model of social justice, do you think?
Yes, it's one of the social justice. And that's why your voice, your writing, your words, that's how too. It's so important to the society. We need to make it heard. And I just had a meeting with the city of Cupertino. I don't think they are serious enough to support this program. And I do think being justice, being equal, I think economic is one of the elements. So I kind of tell them frankly, because this is my second term, they couldn't find anybody who wants to do it because it's free. It's a voluntary role. And, artists needs to survive. And it's very realistic. And all the artists, poets need to get paid. And also I'm also fighting with the city that every VIP who comes to my event needs to get paid. Doesn't matter the amount, but we need to show gratitude. We need to show appreciation. It takes time to craft a good poem. Right. And it takes time to come to event. It's just compared with the Silicon Valley, it's not justified. I mean, that's why the poetry, our voice, our writing matters tremendously.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you're fighting on the front lines for those things. That's wonderful. And just keep doing it. What would you like to say in conclusion of the program to our viewers and fellow writers out there?
Keep writing, keep fighting, and thank you so much, Dustin, and the World Ink Network. I wish I knew your publishing house earlier. I would have. It took a very hard work to get a book published. I bow for you guys, and just Dustin, just for you, for yourself. I mean, your story is very touching. Thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you, and thank you as well for being on the program. Would you like to give any shout outs or thank yous to friends and family, supporters, people that you admire?
Yes, thank you, Shashay. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Cupertino Library and the Libraries Foundation and the city of Cupertino. And we do need to take arts seriously. We need to take creativity very seriously. arts and science should be always hand in hand. And we cannot change our past, but we can certainly create our own presence and future.
Absolutely. Well, if you know of anybody else who'd like to be on the program, just pass my email to them and I'll get them on here and, whenever it's convenient for them. But thanks for being here. Wonderful talking to you, Jing Jing.
Wonderful talking to you. I already gave your name to Shashay.
Oh, excellent. I'll look forward to hearing from them.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You were watching World Inkers Network, and I'm Dustin Pickering. We had Jing Jing Yang today, Poet Laureate of Cupertino. Wonderful talking with her. Go back and watch it again if you missed the beginning. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, shame on you. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment on our great gift of literature and literary interviews we give, so we can continue promoting this project. And if you'd like to donate to help push us along, we'd love to hear from you with a little extra cash. PayPal.me/NYParrot. That's PayPal.me/NYParrot. And you can donate any amount that you feel appropriate to yourself. We're not asking for, huge amount unless you can spare that. So thank you to all that have already donated in the recent months. And if you want to be on the program, you can get in touch with me, Dustin Pickering, at literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. And you will send a paragraph bio, a headshot, and a couple of sample works. If you're a prose writer, send a chapter from your book or something to give me an idea of who you are as a writer, so I can have some good questions for you. And remember, World Inkers Monthly Magazine's March edition, dedicated to women's socioeconomic status and cultural status and the importance thereof, is coming out soon. It should be out in the next few days. I'm still working on the layout. It'll be very soon, I promise. And you guys out there, just keep on doing what you're doing. Keep reading, keep writing, and keep thinking, and just keep on keeping on. And remember, if you're not writing today, get to writing now. World Inkers Network. World Inkers Monthly Magazine is a fine source for your literary interests. It's an all-source magazine with poetry, prose, and essays and articles, as well as interviews. It's all full-color art and photography from a variety of voices and artists. You will find this magazine entertaining. This is an all-purpose readership, and we are looking for new voices. This sleek, full-color edition of World Inkers Monthly Magazine will be something pleasant for your eyes as well as for your mind. And we're looking for authors for one book promotion in the magazine. If you're a business, we want to promote your business. You may submit your book reviews, your academic or non-academic articles on the humanities and the arts, as well as your literary writing and creative output, to publication.worldinkers@gmail.com. World Inkers Monthly Magazine does not spare any ink. Keep inking for